Welcome to Save Room, a podcast by Double Jump Gaming News. I'm your host, Carter Welshly. Joining me today are my co-hosts,
Kopen
Steven Jennis.
And before we get into today's topic, boys, what have you been playing lately?
I have been playing Dragon Ball FighterZ lately, with a new recent patch to come out and makes the game feel more like Dragon Ball. We got introduced crazy combos, crazy sparking damage. I gotta get into it. It's the first time the game's ever felt like proper Dragon Ball.
That's fantastic. That's exactly what you would want from a Dragon Ball game, I would think.
And I've been playing Infamous Second Son. I just started it yesterday.
Ooh, nice. First impressions?
It's definitely interesting. I haven't played the first one. I remember hearing about it, but it was free. And I thought, well, I'll throw it in the library. And I finally.
Where'd you get it from?
It's on PlayStation Extra.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I was like, well, I was looking at the game and I've been meaning to play it for a long time. So I finally just started it and I'm enjoying it so far.
Got to clear out that backlog.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As far as me, games I've been playing recently, I started playing Pokemon Black just to pick up a game from when I was a kid again. And I've been working my way through the Pokedex.
Has this been your first playthrough since you were a kid?
So when I was like 11, I got Pokemon White and an action replay for Christmas.
Oh.
So my first spin on Pokemon Black and White, I had like a level 100 starter Pokemon and 99 Master Balls, and I just swept through the game.
Wow, check this guy out.
I'm the coolest kid.
Wow, dude.
I'm the greatest Pokemon master there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, gentlemen, our topic for this evening, a little game console with a hefty price tag that was recently announced. On Tuesday, Sony unveiled the PS5 Pro, a Pro edition of their 4-year-old PlayStation 5 for $700.
I really don't see the benefit of it. I mean, I know Sony announced the specs being 67% more powerful GPU, 28% faster memory, and a thing called AI upscaling, which in all honesty, you would need AI upscaling if you just made your games correctly. But here we are. We've got a device that's $700 and digital only.
Digital only is the thing that like really gets me.
I can't get over that either. It's like
No.
I still have so many PS4 discs.
I mean, to be clear, the thing that really gets me is the fact that it's $700.
Yes.
If I'm able to overlook the fact that it's $700, digital only.
Oh
is
no,
the
that's
thing that gets
$700
me.
base. You see, we forget to mention that it comes with a separate attachments of a disk drive. That's
I heard
$80.
about that. I heard about that.
It comes with a stand separately that's like $70 to $80. But not only that, because it's online only, you still have to pay the subscription online to do so. Which I think a 12-year subscription is like $40 nowadays.
A 12-year
Or
subscription?
excuse me, 12 months.
That makes more sense. I would be very impressed if Sony was thinking that far
Yeah,
ahead.
12 months was $40. So like all that combined, you're getting almost a $900 console.
The thing that surprises me is how much of a change in strategy this is compared to typical
This does not seem
Pro
very,
editions.
very like Sony.
Like
at all.
when the PS4 Pro launched, the original PS4 took a bit of a price cut, and the Pro became the flagship. They both still sold pretty comparably, but the Pro became the top of the line. And by $200, the PS5 Pro is also top of the line, but we're not seeing a change in price with the base PS5 with this announcement. It's not becoming any easier to get in on the ground floor. It's just more expensive if you want the best quality possible. And I say that in air quotes.
I was gonna say,
for
air
our,
quotes, for
in,
sure.
in this audio medium, I say this in air quotes.
My thing is, does it have more storage? Do we know?
Not at the moment, no.
No.
Chances are it's going to be similar to the base PS5, or very similar storage, because The only real difference is design, being that the PS4 Pro is slimmer, and it's got 3 more notches in it.
It's
That's all
slimmer.
we got.
I didn't know that it was slimmer. That's interesting.
It's slimmer because the disk drive sticks out.
Oh, I suppose you're right.
Well, yeah, but then like the base PS5 digital only is also slimmer than the PS5.
Yeah, so it's quote unquote slimmer, but like the digital, it's pretty much the same size as the digital version exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know storage is the big problem with PS5. A lot of my buddies don't have like an external storage.
I read on IGN that it's using the same SSD as the base PS5.
And a lot of the external storages that you can buy only can hold PS4 games.
Mm-hmm.
They won't let you put PS5 ones on. So it's like, unless you're paying directly to Sony.
Only.
Unless you're
it's digital
paying
only.
More for a Sony specific.
And nowadays, since so many games are unoptimized, like things like Call of Duty are like 500 gigs.
Yeah, they said it's going to be like 500 gigs for the new one.
Yeah, it's stupid. Optimize your games.
Who's going to wait like 2 days to download a 500 gig game?
You'd be surprised.
There's a
reason why they've been able to pump up those Call of Duty games every year for $60.
I think you can like pre-download them too.
Yeah,
like the day before you can start the download.
Right.
I remember.
But still,
$700.
But on the subject of that, so like it's $700. But is that even worth it as an investment for Sony, considering the fact that I, honestly, God, do not know a single person in my life or friend group that owns a PS5.
Here's the thing. I know one person with a PS5, and it's my dad. So unless either of you own a PS5 and aren't telling me, I know one guy.
I have one.
You have one?
You have one.
All right. So you're the most qualified.
Yeah, I suppose. I got it last year around Christmas, or maybe the year before. I actually don't remember. And I just got the God of War Ragnarok bundle, and it was $550 from, I think, I got it at Target online.
$550 from Target.
Yeah.
Does it have a disc drive?
I did get the disc drive one because, like I said, I have so many PS4 disc games that I'm not willing to stop playing.
Yeah.
Right.
So the tricky thing about backwards compatibility is that when you lose the disc drive, you can't exactly advertise that.
And Sony's been known to really not be good at getting their old games onto new consoles.
Oh yeah, tell me about it, dude. I still have my PlayStation 3 just for the older games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You almost need to.
Yeah.
The thing about the PS5 from the times that I've tried it and the games that I've played on it is that there is a tactile difference to what you're doing. I think especially the biggest thing that stands out to me is like the HD rumble in the DualSense and the responsive triggers.
Honestly, like I said, I've had it for a while. It gets annoying after a while.
It gets annoying.
It's annoying.
After a while.
The rumble's
That's
fine, but
interesting.
the responsive triggers, when like you press it down and it's like it resists,
Mm.
that it does get annoying.
Sometimes you just want it.
I just want to
do the thing.
Yeah. It does get annoying after a while in certain games.
So
I know in Deep Rock, it was very prominent, and I noticed it a lot. I was like,
that would do it.
Yeah.
Especially you're using that trigger a
and
lot.
you can turn it off. I'm pretty sure, but I've never bothered. But it does get annoying after a while.
I bet. The thing about $700 that gets me
is that it's $700.
Is that it's $700?
That's like the average person's high rent, so to speak, these day and age.
I'm gonna say the thing that gets me about 100 times over the course of this, but the $700 price tag to me is so outrageous because the PS5 original is already like the most expensive system on the market.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Because both Xbox Series X and S got price cuts a couple years in to make it more accessible. And Nintendo's off in their own world doing whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want.
Sony's just sitting at $500 on an island of their own, making the PS5 already like the luxury option if you're looking for a video game console.
Mm-hmm.
So to to have the PS5 Pro be the luxury version of the luxury console for $200 more, it feels like a doubling down that shouldn't have happened.
Absolutely, I would agree.
And I just looked up because I was curious. The PS4 Pro came out at $400, which was $100 more than the PS4 at the time.
Wow.
What a change that is.
Given change.
This was like what, 2016?
2016.
Because
16 or something like that.
The PS4 came out in like 2014, I believe.
I think it was 2012.
No way.
No, it wasn't. I'm lying.
That's too.
It was 2013. I was looking at this earlier today.
I think it was pre-15, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But an article I read about it because this has obviously been talked about the internet.
November 15th, 2013.
That'll do it.
Wait, yeah, I guess Christmas. They want to hit that Christmas.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I read an article about the PS5 Pro that Sony, this is a bold strategy to say online, by the way, is that the reason why they can willy-nilly do this is because they have no competition. That is literally what they've said online on news articles. That is what I think infuriates me the most, as like you're trying to maximize your profits the wrong way by aggravating the wrong groups.
Okay. Do you guys think Phil Spencer is going to let that stand? Do you think Xbox is just going to take that lying down?
I think
they don't need to. They're lying down in cash. They're literally lying down in more cash than Sony has pulled, especially recently.
Because they're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah. I think honestly, it's like this late in the console game. I know there's people that buy new consoles and get into gaming every year, but by this point, at least, there's a lot of people who are set and like they're gonna be buying Sony products no matter what. They're gonna be buying Microsoft products no matter what. They're gonna be buying Nintendo products no matter what. So it's like if they don't feel they have any competition, it's probably because they know they're gonna get their people who bought the 4 are gonna buy the 5 or gonna buy the 6.
Makes sense.
But that brings in the next discussion. Are they really though? They missed the 2023 sales by 4 million. And as mentioned before, most of the games are on PS4, but they also get PS5 releases. But everyone who already owns a PS4 is just going to get them on the PS4. Like Sony itself has very limited offers on the PS5. I can only name 4 games on the top of my head that are on the PS5. That'd be the only reason to get the PS5. That'd be Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, this new Astrobot game that came out last week. And I think there was another game, I don't remember the title of it, that's supposed to be coming out and was announced recently. I don't remember the title, but I think it was a first-person shooter.
I just wanna say I believe that God of War Ragnarok also released on PS4.
Yes.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, wait, did it? A Ragnarok?
I don't know.
I thought so. I thought it was cross-platform because
It might have been. It would have been awful, though.
The thing is, the PlayStation 5 doesn't have many exclusives.
No, what they do have is good. Well, I will say.
What they do have is good, but it's also few and far between.
But they also Sony likes to sit on IPs and just not do anything. They have a ton. They have a ton, and they just won't do anything. I said earlier, Infamous.
Yeah.
That this Second Son came out in like 2013.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
11 years.
So Ragnarok only has a PS5, but it's coming out on Steam on PC in about 6 days. So again, it's one of those other things is like why bother when it's coming out on another platform that is superior, better, and most likely cheaper at this point.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's the other thing.
Yeah, because
like $700 is going to get you a pretty good entry-level gaming PC.
Absolutely.
With infinitely more options.
I think that's the thing too. Is like $500. What was the base price for the PS5? Is like that is console range is like between like 3 and 5. Yeah, but
it's the upper end of what you would reasonably expect to pay.
And you
for
probably
a video game
couldn't get a good PC for that. You get an okay one. But once you start going over 5, you could start getting into the range of maybe I should just get a PC.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steven, you brought us in to to the question of today's episode, which is, does the PS5 need a Pro?
It never did.
The-
Because let's be real, it has not made the sales needed. It does not have enough games to take advantage of the Pro.
No.
Like, I couldn't not tell you any game right now that's coming out released that needs to be on a Pro. Like, would better graphics help? Sure, maybe, but it's nothing that a PC can do at this point already.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you want to play a game? So I am going to a list of PlayStation 5 exclusives, and I want to ask you guys to guess the games on this list and how many are on here. And I'll give you bonus points if you are able to guess. Give me a number. I'm thinking of a number. I'm looking at a number here. How many exclusives do you think the PS5 has? It's been out for 4 years.
I think we're sitting at 7 or 8. I'm gonna lock it on 7 though.
Okay.
I also think it's under 10, but I think it's closer to 10. So I'm gonna say 9. I'm gonna go just above you.
I will reveal this, and then we'll do a second round of guessing.
Okay.
It is over 10.
Oh, okay.
There are more than 10 exclusive games that have been released for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this is the final round of guessing. It's Price is Right rules, so the closest without going over. How many exclusives does the PS5 have?
Well, if it's over 10, I can't think of many PS5 exclusives, though. That's the thing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and jump up to 12.
12. All right,
You know,
Kopen?
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say
Yeah.
12
You're
or
also
13.
on 12?
12 or 13.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it can't be much over 12. Or it's just going to be like ridiculously high. Like we have no clue about any of these games.
Oh, I
but they
sincerely
just-
doubt it.
Yeah, it's like 100.
Well, no, not
that
like 100,
that whole
but-
PS5 is no games thing completely astroturfed.
Yeah.
It's got more games than the PS2 did. Are you ready?
Mm.
Would you like to know? 21.
What?
Oh.
There are 21 PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I am just as shocked at you as you. I did not look at this beforehand because I wanted to go into the list of games blind. It's fair to mention that this Wikipedia category here includes VR games and upcoming titles.
Well,
So
There's half of you. There's half of those 20.
Okay, so yeah, upcoming titles and VR stuff definitely wouldn't know.
yeah.
Because VR is this whole a separate transaction of like $400 or something.
So we have Astrobot, which at time of recording came out a week ago. We have Astro's Playroom, the tech demo that's included
Yeah,
with
it's
every
built in-
PS5.
built in.
Okay.
We have the Demon Souls remake that came out in 2020.
Okay.
I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
We have Final Fantasy 14 Rebirth.
Okay. Another remake.
For what it's worth, I'm skipping VR and
Yes.
unreleased
Yeah,
titles
that's fine.
because that doesn't count. We have The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered.
The second remaster.
Another remake. I don't know if this counts as a PS5 exclusive. Hyperdimension Neptunia Reverse,
It is not.
which is a PS3 game.
That was a PS3 game that's remade. It's also on PC.
It's also on PC. Ooh, Wikipedia needs to update their lists. We have Quantum Error, which I've never heard of, but it has a firefighter in the key art. We have Rise of the Ronin, which looks like some type of samurai game.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer. It reminded me of Ghost of Tsushima, which that's a PS4 exclusive, I believe.
No, it's PS4 and PC now. It came out on PC about like 2 months ago, and a whole set of controversy was involving that.
Yeah.
Well, that's beyond the point right now.
We have Silent Hill, the short message.
Isn't that another remake, or is that a sequel?
I think it's a new game.
Okay.
It received mixed reviews, is what Wikipedia is telling me.
Spider-Man
2,
Yep.
Stellar Blade.
Oh, yes.
That just came out like a couple months, or was that last year?
Roughly close to last year. I think it was more. I think it was like early this year,
Early
though.
this year.
And that's the end of the list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So at time of recording,
10 that aren't VR and not.
10 that aren't VR, but do we actually count remakes though?
I think we do. I think because if we don't count remakes, we go down to like 6.
Yeah.
And I think we got to give them 1. So
10 over 4 years.
over the last 4 years, if you spent $500 on a PS5 and didn't also spend more money on PSVR, you have 10 exclusive games
over 4 years.
over 4 years.
That's tragic.
Up to right now as we are recording this, because Astrobot came out a week ago.
Yeah.
So it would have been even less.
So it would have
if we did this last week.
Prior to this, it would have been 9.
That's
So-
just tragic though for a game like this, or rather a company like this.
From
like-
Sony.
Yeah, that's 3 a year and then 4 on one.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
It's not
or
great.
one.
Ironically, Kopen, I believe you guessed 9, which makes you
I
the
think I
highest
did,
without
I
going
went
over.
without going
Mhm.
over.
Congratulations, you've
Let's
won.
go.
If you
Yep.
check under your seat, you'll find a new car. So the PS5 Pro has 10 exclusive games for $700, and that's not great.
No, because like what a lot of consoles were originally was supposed to be a new generation of games with new graphics, new exclusives, and all that, and the PS5 has just fallen flat. Because most of these games that have been coming out now get released both in the PS4 and PS5. But in terms of exclusives, the PS5 isn't offering much.
Absolutely. And it would be one thing if the PS5 exclusives that we had were really pushing the upper limits of what the system's hardware could do. Like with the PS4. When the PS4 Pro came out, a lot of games were capped at 30 FPS and needed that extra performance boost that a Pro console could give. The PS5 doesn't have that problem because 40% of its exclusive games are remakes.
The PS5 Pro, now that I think about it, since the Apple just released a new phone, the PS5 Pro is the PS4 Pro as is what Apple does every year, releasing a new
You gotta
iPhone.
buy, yeah, and then you gotta buy $100 worth of extras. You gotta get your disk drive. You gotta get the stand.
Yeah, that to me is what's more outrageous. It's like you make us a Pro that's digital only, and then you charge us for an extra disc thing.
I gotta buy my Sony AirPods and my Sony headphone jack dongle, my Sony
God.
pencil.
You might as well buy a Lego set at this point. It'll be the same time putting it all together, but you'll actually have fun.
You know, it can't look good to plug in a disk drive.
Like it's
gonna look
just like a little tail.
It's just
gonna
gonna have a
rattling
little
out
It's gonna
tail.
look bad. I haven't seen it.
What if
but-
it gets bumped? Like you're dusting your media center.
One bump and that thing is busted. I guarantee you it's held by one tiny cord that's in there so tight.
I will say, of all of the things that the PS5 Pro has on offer, which is exactly 3 things, the thing that piques my interest is AI upscaling through PSSR, because that could be really beneficial for like earlier PS4 titles.
For the earlier stuff, maybe.
And
But
there's a large hanging asterisk over this, which is that not every game is going to just get magically boosted by the PS5 Pro.
no.
They're designated certain titles as PS5 Pro enhanced. For those games that are, I am sure that the upscaling could make a huge difference, especially for like Infamous Second Son, which came out in 2014. And I'm sure having 10 years of graphical enhancements let loose
It would help it.
would rock.
The game does look. I was actually very surprised when I started playing it. It does look good for being a very, because I think it came out in 13 or 14, so it was probably close to the release of the PS4 game, and it looks pretty good.
But again, that's assuming that the PS5 Pro would support that boost.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it really
It also depends on how much the AI upscales.
Yeah.
Because if it's a tiny, insignificant thing, you're not going to notice it. But there's probably going to be games or things on the PS5 Pro that it's not going to be able to upscale anyway.
Mhm.
And given today's internet standards on the sketchiness of AI,
Ugh.
like there is also that factor.
It's not it's not necessarily the most popular thing in the world, and it's not a great sign when the biggest marketing pick that you can give for your new console is that it has AI features.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't seem worth the extra $200.
yeah,
I don't
for,
think anything of this does.
for a handful of games to look slightly better.
Yeah, plus another 110 for the disk drive that
Yeah.
I read, and for the stand.
Before we move on, just in terms of the overall good idea-ness of making a PS5 Pro, about 6 months ago, probably longer than that, about 7 months ago, Sony announced that they had missed their sales targets for PS5s in 23 by 4 million. That is a huge deal. Thinking about other recent Sony launches with install bases of like 10,000. Is that what Concord was at?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. It was like
I
it
think
was
it
in
was
hundreds.
yeah,
It was
I think
it was in
like-
hundreds with an 8-year development.
Oh God,
With-
8 years?
Yeah, 8 years of development with an outdated it's like niche, if you will,
Mhm.
because it was being developed around the time Overwatch,
Yeah.
Paladins, all these hero shooters were coming out.
When that
But
was
now-
like the genre.
Yeah,
And if
that's
it
when
would've
it came out. But then it came out, and
And it came out for all of 2 weeks.
it came
Yeah,
out
I think
for
they're shutting it down.
Yeah.
they shut it down.
It's
this
no
week,
longer
actually.
able to be bought. They're refunding
And the-
everyone who paid
At
for
least
it.
they're
The
doing
best-
that because they could have just taken the money.
I wish
and
they
ran.
would refund me $700.
For real.
Like,
But the worst part about Concord is that when you get into it, the gameplay is boring.
mhm.
The character designs are awful.
I've
Have
seen.
Have
yeah,
you
they
seen the
look-
legendary
they
skin
look-
for Concord? Hold on, I
I
gotta
just
find
saw
the image
like
here.
the
So
Instagram.
think of like modern day legendary skins these days. You get legendary skins that are usually creative, extra detail and whatnot. And then you get stuff like this.
It's just
that-
changing the color.
That is a legendary skin.
I can do that in Photoshop.
I know. Again, it's a failure of communication and what the audience wants.
It's literally like 10 years too late.
Mm-hmm.
This game was 10 years too late, but whereas like Sony's decisions, however, are still like not in the mindset of its consumer.
So this
'Cause-
is absolutely the next point, is that the PS5 Pro doesn't exist in a vacuum. It comes at the 2/3 mark of what has been a pretty rough year for Sony, I would say.
Yeah, given the fact that the recent drama too. So right now, just to briefly talk about this, about a few months ago, Helldivers 2 had the whole controversy and issue with Sony requiring logins just so they can get your data and whatnot. The problem is that Sony itself doesn't allow accounts and whatnot in about 150 countries or something like that. And this includes the Philippines.
I remember this. Yeah.
So, and it does not only just extend to Helldivers and online play, it goes to the point where it's been every single like Sony publisher exclusive that's been released on the PC.
Mhm.
It's the same thing that Ubisoft's been doing, but compared to Ubisoft, it's already got its reputation down the drain when they decided to say that you don't own the game. It's just a subscription. We can take it off wherever you want.
Oh, God.
So, but Sony has been doing some awful decisions this year.
I mean,
And doesn't even help the fact that they did not release enough exclusives to benefit for the PS5.
it's pretty telling when they said at the top of this year that they did not have a major IP or a major game that was releasing, that they were kind of caught with their pants down after 2023. And 2023 was a fantastic year for high-profile releases in the industry, a fantastic year for Sony especially. And then to follow that up with a really dry 2024.
So far.
So far.
We still got like 6 months.
We still got
Right.
6 months?
6 months? What month is it?
It's September.
It is September.
6 months.
We still have 3.5 months.
You've been watching Venom too much.
We could get an October surprise out of Sony.
Which we very well might.
Who knows?
I'm not
But at
holding
the
my
very
breath.
least,
I'm not holding my breath. But between a very sparse lineup, between fumbling Helldivers, between the absolute travesty of Concord, we were on a downward spiral.
Yeah.
And then Astrobot released. And Astrobot got 9s and 10s. Really super well received. And
it's a super simple game.
it's a super simple game.
It's a simple game that has mild platforming, but what makes it lovable is the characters lovable, and the game itself includes cameo for thousands of games.
Yeah.
There's Devil May Cry, Guilty Gear, I think Virgil in there as well at one point.
Astrobot was super well received. It, like you said, was an acknowledgement of Sony's history, which, as we can clearly tell, is very strong based on the fact that there's like 300 collectible cameo characters in the game. And 4 days after launch, they reveal the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
A $700 machine, which frankly does not differentiate itself from the PS5 enough and does not play more than 10 games. I question where Sony's mindset is at.
I can only think that they're trying to maximize profit at this point. I guarantee you that this Pro was not supposed to come out at all. This Pro, so to speak, was supposed to be the PlayStation 6. But I think because their financial situation with Concord happened, among other things, they're trying to push for sales with nothing to offer. Because, like, if, for example, Xbox has had the same console for what, like 10 years now since it came out? Something close to that?
The Series X came out in 2020 as well.
Okay, so about 4 years. But I've seen more games come out for Xbox in 4 years than I have for PlayStation. And Xbox also offers the feature of the Game Pass.
I was going to ask that when we were talking about exclusives, just to wonder how many Xbox has.
That's a great, because my gut feeling is less than 10.
Xbox doesn't really have anything exclusive now anymore because it's gone to the well, Halo is a Microsoft thing. What's happening is that Xbox and PC systems are owned by Microsoft. So now, excuse me. So now it's gotten to the point where they're just trying to merge them.
Oh, okay. So this is a great sign that the Wikipedia for list of Series X and Series S games includes all of the backwards compatible games and games that are playable elsewhere.
Yeah.
So there's 448 games listed, which feels like cheating because technically if you count all of the PS4 games that the PS5 is able to play, it's got like 600 titles.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like Sony hasn't really offered anything like that. People are satisfied with the Xbox Series S and X. Like every like occasional month or whatever, they cycle through the Game Pass games. They have a lot of games on their stores that are backwards compatible. If not, you can play them on PC as well.
But it's also a case of Xbox is owned and operated by Microsoft, and Microsoft does not live and die by how well Xbox is doing because they have computers.
They have other stuff.
They have other things that get them through. I remember hearing that Microsoft has operated Xbox at a loss for a number of years, that it's not actually as profitable as other major console manufacturers, but they continue to do it because of the brand value that comes with Xbox.
I didn't know that.
That is a brand value. That is Xbox is a valuable brand in their what's the word I'm looking for? In their arsenal.
Yeah, sure.
And so is PlayStation, arguably more so. But Sony doesn't really have the failsafe of
I mean,
No.
yeah, say
Falling
they make
back.
electronics,
they make
but
electronics.
they don't have.
Well, they
like,
make electronics, but a lot of their like stuff they have online is like additional revenue they've shut down. Like Funimation, for example, they had
Yeah.
Funimation, but that's now merged with Crunchyroll. So that's like another thing that they don't really have as backup.
So here's what Sony does, because Sony also makes movies.
that too. Yeah.
Oh,
They re-release Morbius as a PS5 exclusive, and the system sells a more billion units.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's probably not a good strategy. Have you seen the movies they've been pumping up with lately?
No, why would I go to see?
Exactly. Exactly. Dude, that's the whole point. That's the whole problem. They're not thinking.
I don't want to see Morbius. I have a life.
It's okay. You don't want to see anything else they've been pumping out either, except maybe Venom. But
Were they
What
were,
have they made?
were they responsible for Harold and the Purple Crayon?
God, I hope. Not.
Welcome to our movie podcast.
I don't think so. But
Yeah, they were.
They were?
Good.
No way.
Oh boy. All right.
Great
well,
news. The video game adaptation of Harold and the Purple Crayon is coming to PS5 as a shadow drop, and the Pro is going to
It's-
sell a gazillion
good.
copies.
It's going to compete with Drawn to Life, Nintendo's better successor.
It's gonna become the equivalent of a Wii. There's gonna be a PS5 Pro at
Oh
your
my
grandparents'
God.
house,
Oh,
and in like your
shit.
high school. It's gonna be everywhere.
God, I'm not looking forward to that reality. That's somewhere on the multiverse. I don't want to know.
It's
Which,
an
but
alternate timeline.
that brings to the next question, since we were talking about Xbox as well. At this point, what is the benefit of getting a PS5? Let's be real. Like, in terms of a console, here's the thing with the console wars. I personally think they're a bit ridiculous. You play what you want, you play how you want, whatever. I don't care. But what has the advantage over another for me is what my friends have and what games you offer. Like, I grew up with the PlayStation 3 a lot. So I loved their IPs of Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, you name it. But we're now at the point where Sony has disregarded all that. But we're also at the stage of like, the only reason why you want to get a PS5 now is to play with your friend. But with the way the internet is built these days, I think PS5 users can connect to PS4 users anyway.
Yeah, you can still join parties and stuff.
Mhm.
It's just some games aren't cross compatible
Right.
if they have different versions, but some are. Because I know like GTA 5, you can't use 4 and 5 together. You have to buy the upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other games that work just fine with
Yeah.
both.
But again, that a game upgrade alone would not be enough for me to buy a PS5 to play with my friends. You know what I mean? Especially with the price that it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Some offer free upgrades, and then some do charge. Like GTA was like a
Mhm.
$20 upcharge.
as if
trying
they
to-
need any more money on that
right.
game.
But the game's like I remember. I think Far Cry 6 had a free upgrade,
Yeah.
and that game should be free.
Mhm.
But
I'm trying to track down sales numbers, and I can't find like a good sales comparison between the two of them because
for Xbox and PlayStation,
yeah, for Xbox and PlayStation. Ooh, here's a Forbes article from last year that's called "It's 32 million PS5 sales to how many Xbox sales exactly?" So
Oh boy.
Microsoft may be cagey with how much they've been selling, which seems to be both a pattern from the Xbox One and also may tell us more about how well the Series X is doing
Mhm.
than if they had release numbers at all.
True.
The truth of the matter is, I don't think that this system is going to sell well.
No,
I
it's
think-
not.
no, it's already got a bad taste in people's mouth.
It's already got a bad taste in people's mouth. It's hard to think of who this would be for, and there aren't games enough to justify making the switch.
Yeah, it just isn't.
I think that the PS5 Pro is going to flop and flop hard because $700 just isn't accessible as a price.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get in, the PS5 Pro is still on the market. And as we saw from the announcement video, the difference in like performance and visual quality between the PS5 and PS5 Pro is zooming in times 200 and staring at individual pixels.
Yeah, and
Because the leaves in the background of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart look slightly more crisp.
Which, fun fact, graphical nerds, you can't see any of that.
it all comes down to it. To me personally, graphics are not the point.
Mhm.
I need to have fun with my games and a reason to play them, which is why like I've never considered buying the PS5 already as it is, because they don't have any games I want to play. If anything, they've been releasing all the games I want to play on the PC anyway.
I think the thing is that graphics, a lot of times, it is just as much how powerful your monitor is as
Yeah.
it is how powerful your system is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've reached a point, even with graphics in games, where it's like we're not noticing big upgrades. You know,
Yeah.
a PS1 game versus a PS2 game is obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at like a chokehold because of
and
technology.
PS3 to PS4 are all obvious graphical
Well,
leaps.
even PS3 to PS4, some games are like not too bad on the PS3. Like you can tell there's still a jump, but it's not awful. But like 4 to 5, it's not that crazy. And then 5 to 5 Pro is just there's
Congratulations, your fan can run a little bit faster and harder.
it's a system. It's a $700 system for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's gonna flop. I think it's gonna flop hard. And hopefully it is a wake-up call for Sony that they're able to learn from when it comes time for the PS6.
Yes, I really do hope so.
So it looks like it's about that time for us. Before we go, I want to ask you guys a question. How do you think it's going to do? Are you planning on buying a PS5 Pro? And if money was no object, would you?
I'm someone who makes my technology last as long as possible. My laptop is 4 years old and ready to die. My phone is 6 years old and probably should be dying. I kept the PS4 up until,
Last year?
last year. And I only sold it because I got a PS5. It wasn't broken or anything. And I have a PS5 now, so there's no reason for me to get one unless my PS5 breaks. So, and I never bought the Pro with the PS4. I had a slim PS3, but I didn't have the super slim one. So it's just it's not for me. No.
Mm-hmm.
And if money was no object, I still don't think I would buy it because I still have technology of similar value with the normal PS5 that works just fine.
Yeah, I'm on a similar boat where I like to make my technology last as long as possible, or at the very least, I'll be using it a lot more. Because growing up with consoles, I was never a kid to jump on the next gen stuff right away until it became on sale. Like my Xbox Series S, I only got it 2 years ago. I barely even use it. I only use it to play Monster Hunter Rise with my best friend. In terms of like if I would ever buy this, no. It's merely because of the pricing, and it offers me nothing for the price. Like if it offered me something for the price, then I would take it, even if money wasn't an issue. But like, if in a different set of circumstances, if the PS5 Pro offered more, or at the very least, was maybe like better storage, just something
100%.
more, and even just more games and exclusives on it, then I may consider buying it. But for the most part, I'm always the type of guy that never really cares about the next gen upgrades.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, I'm a Nintendo guy and I'm a PC guy.
Mhm.
Those are the ways that I like to play games. Those are the ways I have to play games. If I were to get another system, it would probably be a PS5. And I see no reason to spend $200 extra to lose a hard drive and get slightly crisper crowd textures. It's not that deep for me. It matters more that the games are fun and HD and AI upscaling and a slightly better GPU for ray tracing isn't going to get that for me. I'll spend $500 and then spend $70 on Astrobot and then use the leftover that I would have spent on the PS5 Pro to buy groceries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy the PS5 Pro. Pay your rent.
Pay your rent, everybody.
Pay your rent.
Pay your bills.
Ask your friend if they have a PS5, and then ask them if they're having a good old bowl of ice soup next week.
Welcome to my finance podcast. If you're thinking about buying a PS5 Pro,
Don't!
set that money aside and use it for a down payment on a car or a house.
Yeah, something of value.
Yeah, invest.
No wonder why your girlfriend left you.
Don't buy crypto.
I unfortunately took the liberty to watch the Borderlands movie in preparation for the next topic. I never
brave
before,
soul.
never before have I wanted to put a bullet in my head, especially as someone who's played the first 2 entries of the series. Like, why do you give the shortest known actor the tallest fucking character in the game?
Do you want like a wellness check called on you? I don't know why anyone would willingly watch the Borderlands movie.
Say
If it helps you
very
any,
brave
it's
of you.
only because for the topic of discussion.
That's true.
Because there comes to a point where you need to know what's good and what's bad. And you also need to know what can give you a plot, what can't. Like the Minecraft trailer, for example.
Mhm.
But we can all discuss that later next week.
Absolutely.
Get it.
When you hear from us next, we'll be talking about video game movies. So until then, for all of us here at Double Jump Gaming News, I've been Carter Welshley, and I hope you have a terrific day.